Welcome to another edition of the Giants Guys. I'm John Fennelly. The Giants training camp is in full swing with 5 practices already. 3 of them were in pads. And we're taking this off day as an opportunity to catch up with our man on the scene. As you know, Chris Bisignano of the Giant Insider is out there as a beat reporter, and he will be calling in a few seconds. But before we do that, let's not forget that our podcast is growing. We're on all the major carriers now: iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Player FM, and Podbean. And we're pending for a few others, but wherever you get your podcasts, we would appreciate if you download us, and thank you for that. You can also visit our website, which is giantsguys.com, and our Twitter feed, which is @GiantsGuys. And don't forget to subscribe to the Giant Insider, which is in both hard copy and digital form. And you could just Google that, The Giant Insider, and you will come up to a page that will bring you to where you can get the hard copy or the PDF form of the Giant Insider. A little promo for myself. In addition to the Giant Insider, most of my Giants work will be run on USA Today's Giants Wire. So give that site a visit as well. So sit back and enjoy the conversation between myself and Chris. Thank you for listening. Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, how you doing? Chris, how's things going out at camp these days? How you been?
Good, John. I've been really good, enjoying the summer, and it's a great time to get with the camps, all the camps rolling, and it's been a good time at East Rutherford. Giants are working hard, and everything's going good.
Excellent. Good to hear. Like you were saying before we started recording, the Giants, for a 3-13 team, they have quite a bit of buzz around camp these days, and that has a lot to do with, I guess, the draft they had and guys coming back from injury, but it also has to do with a guy like Dave Gettleman and his situation. He's back at work after just a couple of, I think, like 2 months of treatments for lymphoma, right?
Yeah, he's been he's taken a few rounds of chemo. He was explaining the other day at his presser that he has to stay in the hospital 5 days at a time,
right.
And he's got like 3 more rounds left. And it was quite a scene, John, to be honest with you. It was an unexpected presser. We were wrapping up practice, heading back, and they told us, all right, stand by, and Gettleman came out. And I tell you, John, for him to stand in front of, the media and, of course, all the people watching, on the website, his presser, and he showed, man, the guy's got a lot of guts, John. The guy is a warrior. Everybody said that about Gettleman. He's old school. He's a fighter. He always talks, about fighting and kicking butt and all that. And
he's a tough talker, yeah.
Yeah, and I tell you what, John, man, the guy's taking cancer head on, fighting it tooth and nail. He's doing good, which was glad to see. He went up there, John, and obviously, he lost his hair, due to the chemo treatment.
Right.
A lot of people wouldn't have done that, John. A lot of people, would have shied away for something like that, and
they would have stayed in the background. Yeah, not him.
Yeah, John. A lot of people wait till their hair grows back, understandably so. And here's a guy, out there joking around about it and talking to us about his treatment and everything he's going through. So it was quite a scene, John. It was, to me, it was a little emotional. Man, I lost my dad to cancer, and I know what the guy's going through, and it was quite a scene, and it just shows you what a warrior Dave Gettleman really is.
Yeah, that's quite a story, and we wish him well. And he's been actually busy. That was the first time anybody got a chance to see him, but he's been at the facility.
Yes.
And he was at the facility a couple of weeks ago when the Giants decided to delve into the NFL supplemental draft to take that kid Sam Beal, who was a corner from Western Michigan. And you were there the other day or last week when the announcement came that he would be out for the year. What exactly happened to him? He apparently had a shoulder issue, and then what happened to aggravate that shoulder?
He just aggravated in that Monday's practice.
The rookie thing.
Yeah, Sam Beal. He aggravated it.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, John. One of the rookie practices before camp,
Right.
before full team camp kicked up. He aggravated it. He was actually out there that Wednesday morning. I saw him. He was practicing a little bit, but and then the announcer came down and he aggravated it. He twisted it or something on that Monday afternoon practice. And at first they weren't sure, but then he decided that you know what, let's get this kid to surgery and he'll be good to go for next year.
Yeah, that's a shame because that was a little bit of a reach for them. They don't normally do that, go into the supplemental draft, and they were trying to short step and beat everybody to next year's because they had such a high pick. Trying to beat everybody in next year's draft to some of the players, and they used a third rounder on this kid, and now he may have been a first rounder going into next year's draft. I mean, that's the only saving grace of this thing. But they really wanted him to come in right and hit the ground running and hopefully help the team this year. Now that's not going to happen.
No, it's listen, they were looking at him to add some depth, behind Apple and Jenkins. And like you said, John, he was projected, if he would have stayed his senior year in college, he was projected to be a number one next year. And if he would have came out this year, he was projected to be a mid-rounder, So they're pretty high on him. They said, let's get the shoulder cleaned up, and it'll be like a third-round pick.
Right.
It'll be like the third-round pick for next year.
It's like they have 2 first-rounders now going into next year because he was projected,
Yeah, I mean, you could look at it like that, John. You know what? They have a two number one. Whoever they draft number one next year, and Beal. You could look at it like that. So
he seems to be the only injury so far. Let's knock on wood for that because we know how injuries in this team go.
Like we've
just
discussed
keep it that way.
Yeah, like we've discussed before, John. They've had a little bit of the New York Mets disease, with all these injuries the last few years.
That's terrible.
And so far, like you said, John, knock on wood, it's only been a few minor things to players who are expected back as early as tomorrow. So you see what's going on around the league. Guys are dropping like flies already. So far,
the non-contact injuries are the ones too. Guys just running and their knee blows out or their ankle blows out. And, they're gone. That's it.
Yeah, it happens all the time, John.
But they had three padded practices in a row this week, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which is kind of unusual. I guess they really wanted to knock the stink off everybody, so to speak, as my grandmother used to say. How did that go? Were they allowed to tackle to the ground? I didn't see any of that. I think Sherman said they weren't allowed to bring anybody to the ground, but there would be some hitting and contact allowed.
Yeah, they don't tackle. They don't tackle to the ground. They basically wrap up. They get them. The mechanics down as far as putting a shoulder, wrapping into a guy, like that. But they don't actually physically tackle to the ground. Now, of course, every play when guys are hitting each other, on the offensive line, guys are running through the line of scrimmage, safeties are coming up meeting them. Things happen. It happened yesterday with Olivier Vernon. He got Gorman. He kind of threw his shoulder into him, lifted him off the ground a little bit.
Yeah.
And Gorman took exception to it, and pushed him back, and a little scrum broke out. So things like that happen. That's been the only one of the camps so far, and the only one of the 3 days in pads, which this time of year is a little bit of a rarity. Usually you have a few scuffles, but
you have a couple
especially
of
when you got especially when you got Will Hernandez in there, which all of us on the sideline were betting that he would be the first one in it. So we were a little surprised that it wasn't Big Will involved, but that's as far as that goes. Yeah, you don't tackle to the ground, but you wrap up and you work on your technique and all that.
Now, has there been a lot of talk about the new rules? Of course, the biggest rules will be the kickoff, where you have the lineup for the kickoffs. You have to have equal amount of players on each side of the kicker on the kickoff. On both sides have to kind of spread out. So it's all going to be like one-on-one contact down there. We'll see how that works out. No more grouping and ganging up on guys.
No more wedges either. No more wedges.
Well, the wedges, of course. They want to get rid of that.
They've been working on it. Yeah, listen, Giants have been working on it in practice. They got to get used to it. Every team is doing it, John.
And when tackling, guys are being taught, probably for the first time for many of them, to keep their head up. You can't put that helmet into the body anymore.
John, I got to be honest with you. I don't
It's going to be
think the
hard.
players. I don't. You know what, John? I've asked a few players about this new rule as far as the helmet down and the whole deal. They're not even sure what the rule is yet. There's a lot of mystery to this rule, John. I mean, Raymond Collins explained it one way. Kareem Martin is not 100% sure on it. They're still teaching him to him. Is it going to be enforced on a line of scrimmage with defensive linemen and offensive linemen? I don't know, John. If they start throwing flags for that, what do you do on the goal line? That's what I want to ask. You know, if you're going to start throwing flags for offensive line and lowering the helmet, okay, so explain to me how a goal line play is not going to be a flag.
I can't really envision it. The way they started out was like, what if we played the game with no helmets? How would you bring a guy down? And that's how the conversation started. Everyone's like, well, that's hard to do because these guys have never played a game with that kind of mindset.
Right.
You know, everybody's taught to, well, not necessarily taught, but the best way to bring a guy down is to put your helmet somewhere on his body and your shoulders to follow.
Yeah, your helmet's supposed to be up into the guy's chest, you know what I mean? Listen, John, personally, I just think they're going to enforce where, you know, a guy leads with his helmet coming from like a linebacker position, safety position, and he leads with his helmet and hits the ball carrier. I think that's what they're looking to eliminate. You know, I don't think it's going to be an offensive guard, you know, hitting the defensive tackle with his helmet first.
That's unavoidable.
It's going to be 1,000 flags, John, if they start enforcing it. I don't think that's, you know, I don't believe that's what they're going to enforce. You know what, John? We'll see you August 9th. You know what, John? Actually, we're going to see Thursday night in the Hall of Fame game. I guess you'll start seeing it there.
Yeah, I don't know if the refs have a full grasp on this rule either, you know, from what I can understand, what I've been reading. And I don't understand how they're going to do it. It'll be interesting to see. And I know that Lou Anarumo, the Giants' secondary coach, touched on it a little bit yesterday. He said he's always taught to wrap up and tackle and tries to shy away from what we used to call it spearing.
Spearing,
leading with your helmet. And they kind of changed that rule, euphemized it, you know, over the years. But guys still do it. You know, the old Jack Tatum days are over, but you know what, John? You had guys like him and Steve Atwater. I mean, it's just to pop people. And, you know, they also paid a heavy price for doing it because, you know, you get concussed doing that.
Yeah, well, guys like Tatum and George Atkinson used to knock themselves out hitting guys.
Yeah,
And the league, listen, John,
dangerous.
it is. In fairness to the league, they've cleaned that up a lot, you know, as far as safeties hitting defenseless receivers, you know, with the helmets. And now they're trying to eliminate the aspect around the line of scrimmage where guys are leading with their helmets, you know. So, I don't know, John, it's a little bit of a mystery to rule. It's misinterpreted, you know, in some ways. I don't know exactly how they're going to, you know, do this, but we'll find out soon enough, bud.
And, of course, there's the rule now. The NFL has kind of squashed it for the moment about the national anthem. John Mara touched on a little bit, saying he was going to talk to the players about it. But, again, they don't seem to have a set idea of what they want to do with this. You know, players are kneeling. We know why. Anybody who's followed it knows why they're kneeling. But it's people who didn't read why these guys are doing it, why they're protesting, are taking it the wrong way. They're taking it as a disrespecting the flag and the anthem, which is not what the intention really is. Even though it turns out to be that way, the optics are looking like that. The league has to step in and do something about it. And Roger Goodell has just convoluted the problem, and owners are all over the map on this. The Jets said they won't fine anybody if they do it. The Cowboys said they're going to stand. Jerry Jones came out last week and said that. And Mara, who's really in charge of the whole thing, he runs that committee, kind of said, let me talk to the players and let's try to finalize this. The players are the ones that are probably going to say, you know what, let's just stand and we'll figure out another way to protest. That's what I think will end up happening.
Yeah.
Because it's just causing too much confusion and problems. It's, you know, they do make a living off this game. And, you know, why bring politics into it? You know, but you know, there are some things that you might agree with this. They do wear pink for cancer awareness, right? And they do wear the military garb, you know, the camouflage at times, and they do that in baseball. So, you know, the leagues are doing this. And so these guys are saying, hey, why not do this also? And, you know, to me, I think it's going to continue to be a problem until the league or the players come to an agreement and say, you know what, let's just forget about the whole thing. Because it's hurting.
Well,
it's
that's
hurting
what they're
again.
working on. You know, that's what they're working on now. Supposedly a meeting, you know, on Park Avenue about this again. You know, matter of fact, they actually told Jerry Jones to shut up about it. Now don't even talk about it until we come up with a resolution. So I don't know, John. You know, we'll see what they come up with.
The Giants only had one guy that knelt initially. That was Olivier Vernon. So you know, he's kind of on the fence about it. You know, he's probably saying, you know, if I'm going to be the only one, maybe I won't do it.
He actually said he's not going to do it, John.
Right. So, and Michael Thomas did it when he was with the Dolphins. But, you know, he's in a new setting now, so he may just say, you know what, I'll find another way to voice my opinions.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I actually think they were doing that, John. I don't think anybody was going to kneel until the owners, you know, came up with this.
Until they started regulating it.
Right. The one that came out, I think it was April, whatever it was. And, you know, I don't think it was even going to be an issue this year, to be honest with you, until the owners
probably would have just died out. You're right.
Proposal, and then the players would turn around like, you know, what? You know, so I don't know, John. We'll see what the league comes up with. I guess soon enough. You know, it's training camp. It's training camp, so you know, all I'm worried about is you know, X's and O's, and you know, whatever.
Before we get to those X's and O's, there's one more piece of business, and that's the contract for Odell Beckham Jr. As we know, Stephon Diggs of Minnesota just got an $80 million extension, and if he gets an $80 million extension, what does Odell Beckham Jr. get? Right? Think about that.
Oh, are you asking me what do I think? What do I think he's going to get?
I'm saying it out loud. I don't, you know.
Oh, yeah, I think Odell. Listen, I think Odell's going to get 90 to 95, or possibly 95 to 100 million, with like about 60 guaranteed. You know, that's what I think Odell. I mean, let's face it, John. I mean, Stephon Diggs is a nice receiver for the Vikings. Don't get me wrong, but he's not Odell Beckham Jr. You know what I mean? So if he's getting 80 million and Odell's getting 95, John, you know, so or 90, whatever it might be. So. And
you know, Julio Jones has threatened to sit out, or he did sit out, and then the Falcons had to come in and give him some money. I don't know where they got that, because they just paid Matt Ryan $100 million or whatever it is, $150 million.
Yeah, and they just paid Jake Matthews.
And they gave Jake Matthews Pro. You know, he got Pro Bowl money, and he's never made a Pro Bowl. You know, just like Nate Solder, he's never made a Pro Bowl either.
Yeah.
And you know, the teams are saying, you know, these are serviceable players, and you know, if we don't get these guys, we're going to be in trouble. And they overpay because, you know, you do have a lot of room in the salary cap. The salary cap has been going up in increments, 10 million, 12 million every year, because the revenues are, you know, increasing. And, you know, teams have money. You know, look at Cleveland. They still have 50 million under the cap. You know, they can't spend it all.
Yeah. And even, John, even these teams that are cap strapped, I still don't understand how do you work out these I mean, look at the Giants. They didn't have much in the cap. All of a sudden, they're bringing in Connor Ballman. I mean, I don't know, John, I give up. I give up how these guys figure out exactly how to get these guys under the cap. I don't know. You know, it's so complicated, John. I give up on it. All I report is how much cap money they have left, and then they work it out. Signing bonuses, this and that, so whatever.
The signing bonuses are cash up front, but then they're deferred into cap.
Deferred. Yeah.
The cap space down the road. You know, you're eventually going to have to. You're eventually going to feel that pinch, but you know, if the revenues keep going up, the salary cap keeps going up. They figure they can handle it. And the Giants also have to worry about Landon Collins, who is unfortunately is a second-round pick, so he doesn't have a fifth-year option. You know, he was the first pick of the second round. He should have been a first-round pick. We know that, but he is going to be a free agent after this season, and the Giants obviously are not going to let him go. If push comes to shove, they'll use the franchise tag on him. And that'll cost them more than a long-term deal, because they won't be able to push that back. That's all cash. Franchise tag money is all right up front. You got it.
I mean, look at Kirk Cousins. He made over $40 million in 2 years, so that count with that franchise tag. You know, it's guaranteed money.
He did pretty well, yeah. So, and, you know, other teams have done it too. So, you know, you don't like to go that route. I don't think it'll happen because I think Collins wants to stay here, so they'll work something out there.
Well, like
he's
said,
pretty
John,
comfortable there.
Yeah, he's expressed that already. He wants to stay here forever. But of course, it's a business. But one way or the other, John, like you said, either the franchise or they get a contract done with Landon. He will be with the Giants in 2019.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we won't worry about that, and I'm not going to worry too much about the lawsuit involving Odell Beckham Jr. that I wrote for USA Today this past week. I wrote 2 articles on it because people read that stuff, so you got to write it, you know. But
Absolutely.
it's kind of seemly. You know, he's paying for, allegedly paying for sex, and there was drugs in the house, and, you know, he has a house in Beverly Hills that he rents, I imagine. And this guy got tossed out of the party, and he got roughed up, and then he's suing Odell for something like $1 million. And Odell is saying he's being extorted. And when Mara was asked about it this week, he kind of said, you know, we know about it, but, you know, we don't really care. It's not going to affect us.
Yeah, they're not too worried about it. Matter of fact, Odell filed a countersuit today.
Right.
Yesterday.
So he did the countersuit. So.
You know, one person gets beat up, you know, gets a bloody nose or something, and he's suing for $15 million. And then some other person says, "Oh, we got dirt on you, Odell, so we're going to sue you for $1 million." You know, come on. You know,
you know, it's just one of those distractions it's a distraction the Giants are not letting become a distraction, which is good.
No, not at all. You know, not at all. Listen, and the best part, the most important part, John, is that Odell's not letting it be a distraction because I see him every day and he looks phenomenal. He's very happy. He's dancing. He's doing his thing out there, so it doesn't look like it's affecting him whatsoever, and that's the most important part.
That's the best part of it. That's the best part of it. He's ready to play. He's ready to commit, and the Giants are ready to commit. So we're happy. We're all happy about it. Everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy so far, John, yeah.
All right, so let's go to the X's and O's. Pat Shurmur, his first camp. How's he handling it?
John, he's such what a difference in Ben McAdoo, you know.
Oh, yeah. Well.
You know what, John? I was talking with Paul Dottino yesterday about this, and
good old Paul. I know him well.
Yeah, good old Paul. Good man, Paul. Good man. I was talking to him yesterday, and I had an observation. I put it on Twitter. Since I've been there since the first OTA back in April, and now through 4 days of training camp, okay, there hasn't been one sloppy practice. Not one where Shurmur had to stop, you know, our coaches stop the team, give them a little lashing to kick it up or whatever it might be. Or another sign of a real sloppy practice is numerous flags, as the Jets just went through yesterday. They had like 9 to 10 flags in practice. Not one sloppy practice. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, quarterbacks missing receivers. That always happens. I'm talking about as far as intensity, concentration level, lack of flags, because lack of flags, numerous flags shows coaches that the concentration level is not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, from the first OTA to right now as we speak, John, the Giants, the concentration level and intensity level has been off the charts with this team. Very impressive, and it's something that you don't see, John. I mean, you read about other teams around the league already, how they've had bad practices, coaches have had to get on them. You know, even Belichick up in New England the other day had to get on his guys a little bit.
Yeah.
And Shurmur, not one time, very well organized practices, John. Pretty quick, 2 hours he gets his work in, and everything has been really, really good. Matter of fact, I asked Gettleman about Shurmur the other day. I said, has he been everything you expected? And Gettleman was just like raving about him, John. He's been more than what everybody thought, and he's a true professional. Like we talked about before, the guy's a football coach.
Yeah.
It's showing in these practices, John, and it's, the players have really taken to it. I've talked to players about Shurmur, about the practices, and they're really totally 100% committed to this program, John, and that's a really good sign for the Giants.
They like playing for him, and he gives respect. And that's why he gets respect. He's that kind of a guy. He's a father. His son is a football player. He's a quarterback in Vanderbilt.
Yep.
And
You know, he understands, and he played at Michigan State. He played on the same team as Carl Banks.
Yes, he did.
You know,
yes.
He's a football lifer, this guy. His uncle was Fritz Shermer, as we've talked about once before, the famous defensive coach for Mike Holmgren and his teams. And, you know, this guy, he knows how it works. You know,
and
he's
you know
been
what?
a head coach in Cleveland. Everybody fails in Cleveland, even Belichick did, right? But, you know, he's on his second chance now, and he's making the most of it.
And you know what I like about Sherman, John, is, you know, something we've talked about in the past. And guess what? Dave Gettleman brought it up the other day, that he's an offensive-minded coach, Sherman, with a defensive-mind mentality. Gettleman mentioned that the other day when I asked him that question about Sherman, and he talked about how basically all the great coaches in the NFL over the years, most of them have had defensive backgrounds. And what he loves about Sherman is that he has that defensive mentality in an offensive mind coach. And we've talked about that, John, before.
Yep.
I mentioned to you, and I put it on Twitter, the whole deal with as far as him spending time with the defensive players, appreciating that. Tomlinson even told me that himself. You know, it's a little bit of a surprise. Usually, only deal with the coordinator. You know, to have an offensive head coach come over and tweak things with the defense. That's what I love about Sherman the most, I think, John. besides just he oozes football coach, is that he has that chip. He's got not a chip, I should say. He has that edge to him. He's got that defensive mentality. And me personally, John, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was a great pick. A lot of people were talking about guys like Jack Del Rio and somebody. I was like, no. You need a guy that's going to come in and put everything in order, put everything where it's supposed to be, and quietly run this football team. And I think he's been doing that.
Yes, he has. And I see the way he interacts with the players. Listen, I've said it before in the past. I said it when he hired him. I thought it was a real good hire, and I think it's going to be a real good hire. And not to mention, John, he's a real good guy, man. Real solid guy. I spoke to him on the side. A real good guy.
He's a gentleman. He's a gentleman.
I sense a gentleman. And I really hope he succeeds here, John, to be honest with you, because I like the guy personally. Besides, I like what he's bringing to the table football-wise. I like the guy personally, too. I've talked to him. I see the way he deals with the media. I watch people, John, when the camera's off them. You know what I mean? And I see the way he talks and deals with people when the camera is not on him. And he's very respectful. He'll talk to you. He answers your questions. And I wish him, man, John, I hope he brings a fifth Lombardi trophy to this organization. It'd be really nice to see, because I really like the guy. I hope he does really well here.
Yes, he deserves it. Now let's get to the X's and O's. I know you. This is your strength, X's and O's. And if everybody goes to the Giant Insider at Giant Insider on Twitter, you will see Chris's tweets from camp when he's there. And you'll get some real great insight. I mean, I love it. I have you on my feed, and I'm like, okay, very succinct and accurate, and a little behind the scenes, a little information. Some of those other beat writers, they don't even know to provide. They don't have the background for it. The offensive line, you and I have talked about this. I'm a little nervous. I'm not nervous about Will Hernandez. And I may not even be nervous about the center position with Jones or Jalapio, whichever guy wins that job. But everybody else, Flowers, still a little shaky. Omame, I'm not sold on him. Solder, like I said, I don't think he's a top-notch tackle. I think he's a good guy to have. But is he one of the best tackles in the league, like he's being paid? Maybe not, but he brings some professionalism to the line. Sherman said it was coming together the other day, and he liked what he saw, but it looked like the defense was getting the better of him. Am I wrong about that?
At times they have. Yeah, no question about it. At times they have. I think the line is coming along more and more each day, though. And listen, is it something to worry about still until they go out, on September 9th and start proving it? Yeah, no question, John. I mean, you cannot sit here and say okay, offensive line problems are over. We're ready to roll. You know what I mean? No,
Right.
not at all.
They got
There's still a lot of question marks. Listen, Jalapeno is the number one center right now, and we'll see how he plays. He's never been a center before in this league. He hasn't even played much in this league. You know what I mean?
No.
So,
he's bounced around, yeah.
Right. I mean, Omame at right guard, he's got the experience over there in Jacksonville, but he's not a Pro Bowl, like you said. He's seems to be a solid, decent guard, but Flowers is, he's switched over to the new position. He's holding his own so far, but a lot of question marks. Solder's a guy that's gotten better as he's playing this league. To me, in his fourth, fifth, and sixth years in New England, were way better in his first, second, and third.
Yeah, he's matured as a player.
Yeah,
and he's a calming presence on the line too. I mean, how big is that guy? I mean, he's huge.
Oh, he's tremendous, John. He's like 6'7". He's tremendous, John.
He's listed at 6'8", 325, but I don't know. He looks bigger than that to me.
Yeah, I've stood next to him numerous times, and I'm like 6'2", and it seems like I look way up to him.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I tell you, man, it seems like my neck is like up in the air staring and talking to him, So, I mean, I think they got him listed at 6'7" or something, right? But it wouldn't surprise me if he is 6'8", 6'9", John. I don't know. He's a big boy, man. He is a big boy.
Yeah, the Patriots drafted him, and they stuck him right. I think he played the right side his first year, and then they moved him to left tackle, and they were comfortable with him. So why wouldn't we? I mean, they just didn't. They can't afford to pay him, because they have such a tight cap. But I'm trying to get comfortable with him, and I'm just hoping that it works out. That's all.
Well, John, like we said, is he going to be a Pro Bowler? Maybe not, probably not. But I mean, John, it's just a huge upgrade over Flowers at left tackle. It's not even close.
Oh, yeah. They've got to be better than they were last year.
And I tell you what, John, working against Olivier Vernon every day in practice is helping him. Because Olivier Vernon is like a man-child out there this year in training camp. I mean, he looks great. Yeah. And he does inside moves. He's got his quick, dropping the left shoulder moves on over the edge, and Solder's working on pushing him out and driving him in. So it's not like Vernon's making him even better, So,
right.
Listen, John, like we said, it's a huge upgrade, and I'm not too worried about Nate Solder over there. I'm more worried about a couple other spots on this line.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, it's just me, because I've been watching the Giants in full consciousness in 52 years now, 53 years, and I don't try to get my hopes up too much when I see guys like this. I say, okay, we're finished, we're solved. I'm like, still got to go out and prove it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So that being said, let's move on to the quarterbacks. Eli is Eli. He seems to be picking up the system. The backups are catching up, it looks like, and it looks like Davis Webb has really taken the next step. Mm-hmm. He's made some great throws from what I can see, and he moves around well in the pocket for a guy his size.
He moves around real well.
Yeah, I mean, is he the guy? I mean, they drafted Lauletta, but it's too early to tell. But what do they see? Is Eli just going to play through hell or high water, or are they looking to perhaps get these guys a little bit of game time?
As far as regular season?
Yeah.
Oh no, Eli's playing as you put it, come hell or high water. There's no question about that. Yeah, Eli's looking. Eli's actually had two really good practices. Well, it seems like he's really grasping this system now. Let's not forget. Right. It's a new system. Even a veteran like Eli, it takes a little time. To get it down. A new system's a new system. Bottom line. So and listen, Shermer. This isn't the Ben McAdoo. Let's throw a quick slant to Odell. Let's go in 11 personnel. Let's run the ball up the middle, and that's it. Let's go home, guys. Okay, we're good. This isn't that type of system. I mean. Shermer's got all kinds of different formations going on. So it takes a while. You know what, John? It's going to take exhibition games to get the system down.
Sure.
It takes a while. Even to a smart veteran like Eli, it's going to take a while, But the last few days, he seems to be a little more command of the offense. You know, a little more command of the offense. So it'll come along. But as far as Eli playing, no, Eli clearly is the number one. There's not even a question there. It's a little bit of a battle, I guess, for number two. I mean, I would be shocked if Loletta ever won the number two spot. I fully expect Davis Webb to win that football job behind Eli on the sidelines on Sundays. You know,
right?
He's way ahead of Loletta, Davis Webb.
Okay, so that's the answer to my question, because Loletta is the guy they drafted, Gettleman and Sherman. That's the guy they wanted. I mean, they actually believe that he's as good as some of the guys that were taken in the first round.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if that's I don't know if that's the case. He probably doesn't have the arm that those guys have, but you know, Jimmy Garoppolo was a guy that everyone said, he could be okay in the pros. He could be this, and Loletta is being compared to him as a college player. So let's see. You never know. That's not going to happen this year, so we'll just shelve that for a later date. How's that?
Okay.
Yeah, there's no use talking about it. You know, if Eli is going to play, his streak is over, and they don't plan on, you know, trying to edge some of these other guys in for playing time, because, you know, sometimes that happens when a team is not going to financially commit to a guy. Look what's happening in Baltimore with Flacco. They're kind of edging him out with Lamar Jackson now. They're like, oh, well, you know, there could be a game or two where Joe sits, you know.
Yeah, well, and look how Flacco is responding. He's having the best camp of his life when he
right. So, you know, that's the talk down there.
Listen,
it does happen.
If the Giants are, you know, are 3-9 or 3-10 going to December, whatever it might be, am I saying Eli won't be sat down for a Webb, or, you know? No, I'm not saying that. But all I'm saying is, you know, going into the season, you know, Eli is clear, and it's not even a question. You know, he's going to be leading his team.
Good. All right, that's what I want to hear. That's what our listeners want to hear. They want to hear Eli is back to being his own self and in charge.
Well, he's in charge, John, and you know, he's Eli. You know, we'll see when the season starts. You know, beginning of camp, he's made a few Eli type throws. You know, where not the best decisions, but he's looked sharp the last few, and he's got a guy like Sherman that's in his ear all the time, correcting mistakes. You know, a good offensive-minded coach, a good quarterback coach. So we'll see where we're at, buddy. Come next month.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm sure Eli is too. Knowing him, he's very professional. Comes in, does his job. You know, even carries his own pads out on the field. Yeah. You know, doesn't rely on too many people to help him do things. He's the anti-star. You know, he doesn't really. You know, he doesn't act like a superstar. Or a seminal player. You know, he's going to the Hall of Fame this year with the statistics he compiles. If he has his normal year, he will be in the top 5 all time in passing attempts, yardage, completions. Yeah. Hopefully not interceptions. But
I tell you what, John,
all the major categories. So that'll put him right there on the platform to go in.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that, John, because I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, well, is Eli a Hall of Fame? Is he not a Hall of Fame? You know, the whole. And I'm saying, I was thinking the same thing, John. If he goes out this year and throws, 32 TDs and has 10 picks only and 8 picks, whatever it might be, and has 4,300 yards, 4,400 yards, I think that would put him over the top, John. I think that would put him in the 2 rings. Hopefully another one down the pike.
Another one will definitely put him in. If they get another championship,
if he happens to get another one, John, before he hangs him up, it's a no-brainer then. It's a no-brainer. You know, I was thinking along the lines of not getting one, before he hangs him up. And if he has a couple of solid years on the Sherman year, I think that'll be the final, that'll be the final push for him into Canton.
Yeah. Speaking of Canton, Saquon Barkley.
Please. Let's slow down with that. As Joe Parcells used to say, let's not put him in Canton yet.
Yeah. But there are people around the league, people that come in for one day, media people, and they see him for the first time working out for the Giants. They're like, who's going to stop this offense with this guy? First of all, who's going to stop him? And if you put extra resources to trying to defend him, look at all these other guys. We haven't even talked about them yet. Look at all these other guys that they have that you have to worry about. And Barkley is going to be a handful on his own. I mean, they said no linebacker in the league. No linebacker. And maybe most safeties could not run with him.
Nope.
Is that what you see?
Absolutely. I mean, Alec Ogletree, who's a quick linebacker, he ISOs up on Barkley coming out of the backfield. They have one-on-one drills, and he cannot cover them. Besides Barkley's quickness, he has, his redirection with his feet is it's unbelievable. Like he'll he'll fake to the left and go to the right. Right, it's like Allen Iverson in basketball. Iverson used to do it. He used to give that juke with the left shoulder and go to the right. And
quick off the dribble, yeah.
Yeah, he was explosive off the dribble, Iverson, back in the day. And Barkley's like that without the ball. Like he gives you that juke with the left shoulder and then cuts inside and he's like breaking and the linebackers are still going to his left. To their right, to Barkley's left. It's like it's unbelievable to watch. It's like, who's going to cover this guy out of that backfield? It's going to be unbelievable. And not to mention he catches everything thrown at him.
Right, right. You tweet that almost every time, every practice you comment on. You're like, this guy has the best hands. I keep saying it, I know, but he still has the best hands. And
I know. Listen, I know I was going to catch. I tweeted the other day. He made a diving catch on the goal line, John, and I tweeted, okay, I'm saying it. Barkley's got the best hands on the team. And of course, right away, there was some people. What are you talking about? What about Odell? What are you kidding me?
Odell is a one-handed catcher.
Well, John, I guess people forgot that Odell's dropped numerous easy balls.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I have
drops Odell. God bless him. I love the kid. He's talented up the butt. You know that. But he's had drops. I mean, are people forgetting the Packer playoff game when he had 2 easy drops in the first half?
Yeah.
I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not saying Barkley's not going to drop a ball. All I'm telling you, John, and is that Saquon Barkley's got the best hands in the team. And I'm going to stick with what I'm saying. And when he starts making these catches, in regular season games, and people go like, oh, wow, yeah, I guess he does have unbelievable hands. I see it every day. I see it every day, John. And I'm telling you, from the first OTA, this kid has not put a ball on the turf yet. Now, what happens? Probably next week against the Browns, he'll probably drop the first pass and make me look like an idiot. But I'm just telling you, John, this kid's got the best hands in the team.
I am just elated that they drafted him over any of those quarterbacks. And I'm even happier that the Cleveland Browns have no idea what they're doing and passed on Barkley in round 1 and then Hernandez in round 2. So we're going to give them a ring if we win one. We should send a couple of rings out to Cleveland because they blew the first round and the second round.
Like the old New Orleans Saints days, right? When they took Rodgers and we took a guy named Lawrence Taylor, right?
Yeah, I mean Rodgers had 2 good years and that was it. And Taylor had, as we know, a great career.
Yeah, not bad. He had a pretty decent one.
Let's talk about another guy that everybody's excited about, and he's a hybrid player in my book. The Giants keep trying to tell us that, he's an inline tight end. They want you to believe that because when he's out on the field, they want you to believe that he's not going out for a pass most times or sometimes. But Evan Ingram, let's face it, he's a receiver. Now, he can block if they want him to, but they're going to use him as a receiver. We know that. And he's probably the most, I wouldn't say explosive or fastest, but he certainly runs the best routes. I mean, Zach Ertz is pretty good. Travis Kelce is good. We know Gronkowski, for a big guy. But, I think Ingram runs great routes, and he's almost like a wide receiver in a tight end's body. Like an Antonio Gates, but, faster.
He's faster than Gates, yeah.
Yeah. But Gates was a great route runner, too.
He was a great route runner with great hands.
Yeah, and I think this guy's going to be special. And like you said, he still has problems hanging on to some passes. But once he solves that, the yards after the catch for this guy are going to be incredible.
Yeah, he's a major weapon, and when you say he's going to be a receiver, what do you mean? You think they're going to line him up as a receiver?
I think they're just going to put him out. They're going to put him,
that's fine.
Split him out. They may put him in line just to disguise it so the defenses can't just say, okay, Ingram's going out for a pass. Mm-hmm. They might put him on the line, make him block a few plays, make him chip and then release. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Just to keep defenses honest. But if he lines up in the slot, what slot corner rather is going to one-on-one this guy?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that happen. He's 6'3" or whatever he is, 245, and he runs as fast as Beckham.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty funny. It's going to be he runs a 4.4, a 4.3 40 England. You know,
right. He's fast.
You know what, John? What you're going to see out of England is he's going to be lined up all over. You know what I mean? He's going to be lined up a few plays as a receiver, a lot of slot, off the line of scrimmage. You know, Sherman's using him all over the place. You know, like you said, I want to see the slot. I want to see a slot corner that's going to cover him. You know, opening day. You know, opening day the Jaguars are going to throw out, you know, DJ Hayden out there. You know, I'm sure he's going to line up at England a lot. And good luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
but the games begin.
All right. You know, England is a major weapon. The only issue with Evan is that he does have some drop issues, which I interviewed him yesterday. We talked about it. You know, he went through a stretch last year. He had some drops. You remember, like a 3 or 4 game stretch. He had some bad drops.
The official count was 11, and it was the most of any tight end in the league. I think it may have been the most of any receiver in the league, but don't quote me on that. It's the most for any tight end, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely number 1 for tight ends. I know that. I thought maybe it was a little psychological, John, last year.
It is. It's all psychological.
I asked him about that yesterday. I said, do you feel maybe it was just getting in your head? And he was like, absolutely not. It was just strictly, you know, technique-wise and something he works on all the time. He's had a few drops in his camp.
Yeah.
You know, he's had a few drops in his camp, too. You know, but I tell you what, he makes acrobatic catches. He makes catches in traffic. He's been isolated on Collins a couple of times. It wasn't even fair. He just destroyed Collins in coverage. Destroyed him.
Not Collins' strong suit, but you know.
Yeah.
When you think about it, but he's still a Pro Bowl player.
Yeah, but you know what, John? Here's the thing. You know, you might get that in a game where the opposing team safety is over in space on Ingram.
Oh boy.
You know what I mean? I mean, you look at opening day. Just for example, opening day, you're going to have Barry Church. You're going to have Gibson over there playing safety for the Jaguars. So if the Giants, if the Jaguars if the Giants get a one-on-one Ingram out in space on a Barry Church, it's like a man playing with a kid. You know what I mean?
Slaughter sides, as we used to say in wiffle ball.
Right. So I mean, these are the matchup that Sherman's going to be looking for. You know, and if they happen during the course of a game, it could be big plays. You know, it could be big plays with this guy, Ingram, because as soon as he gets in space, he's gone, John. He's gone. You know what I mean? And listen, he's a great kid, man. He's a hardworking kid. He works out his craft. He's working on blocking every day. He watches films of how he's blocking. He is adamant about becoming a better blocker, John. Sherman expressed yesterday that he's a 3-down tight end. That's what they expect from him, and
okay.
I mean, listen, he's going to be blocking a lot. He's been coming up the line of scrimmage. He'll be chipping. He'll be lined up at the slot, receiver. But it's a nice problem to have, John. A nice weapon.
It sure is. And you know what? The thing that I think the Giants have been lacking is the blocking on the edges for the running game for the receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Victor Cruz was terrible at it. Odell is not very good at it. Sterling Shepard's a little small. Now they have Cody Latimer. Let's talk about the wide receivers now. Cody Latimer, who is a physical player. He's a special teams guy. That's why. And
he's a big guy.
Yeah, they'll need to block and seal those edges on running plays. It's something that's one of the reasons why they don't run the ball that well or haven't been running the ball. You know, you have 11 guys on the field. You know, quarterback is one guy. The guy with the ball is the other guy. The other 9 have to be blocking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that wasn't happening under Ben McAdoo, and maybe not even under Tom Coughlin at times.
Yeah,
so, I don't know if you've seen how they line up that way. I mean, Coughlin always said, we got to seal off the back edge. That's a running back's job or a wide receiver's job. That's not a lineman's job. And how many times do you see guys come from the back end to nail a giant running back?
Yeah.
I mean, they'll have to figure that out this year. And I think that a guy like Latimer and some of the other big receivers that they have, the kid from Syracuse, whoever makes the team, is going to have to figure that out. But let's talk about Sterling Shepard, because I know you want to talk about him. We only got a few minutes left, so we'll get to the defense on the next show because that's another exciting hour of Giant talk. But let's finish up the offense for this show, and we'll talk about Odell. Naturally, we already talked about him. There's really not much to say. I mean, words really can't describe how good this guy is, and he looks great. But
yes,
Sterling Shepard is the guy that a lot of people think would benefit from having all these other great stars on the offense. And have you seen that so far this camp?
Yeah. Well, you know what, John? Shepard's playing on the outside a lot. He's not strictly a slot receiver anymore.
Right. They seem to be moving everybody around. Even Odell has been taking reps in the slot, right?
Oh yeah, he's been in the slot, and then Shepard's been on the outside. There was one formation Odell was on a slot, Shepard on the outside, and Barkley lined up on the other outside. I mean, it's
hello.
Really sick. Yeah, and then
and that's something that they didn't have the last year or two under McAdoo. Everybody came out in the same spots every play, so it made it easy for the defense.
And in all fairness to McAdoo a little bit too. I mean, he did have a lot of injuries at that position. In all fairness to McAdoo. But his offense was pretty predictable. I mean, we know that. This will not be predictable as long as everybody stays healthy. Shepard has been on the outside. Of course, he is dangerous on the inside in the slot. He looks great too, man. I think he's gonna have a big year too. Listen, not enough balls to go around, but the impact plays. That's what everybody's looking for, John. The impact plays.
Right.
Not everybody's gonna have 80 catches. We know that, but the impact plays. Moving the sticks, stuff like that. That's what's going to be huge here.
Right. And Eli is going to have to be at his best Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, distributing that ball around.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have to do. I think he's going to have to do the Aaron Rodgers and look for that open man. But he doesn't move around in the pocket. See, the thing is, everybody says Aaron Rodgers. This, Aaron Rodgers, that. I said, wait a second. Aaron Rodgers can play on any offense because he can extend plays. That's why Russell Wilson is so good. Russell Wilson can play for any team in this league. Because if you have 7-8 seconds to throw a football, I mean, think about it. Eli has 2, maybe 3 if he's lucky.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's why I asked you about Davis Webb. Would the Giants even consider, in some situations, putting him in? I wouldn't want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But, the game streak is over for Eli, and the contract is coming up. And if he starts to look human or doesn't improve that much, there could be talk. I'm just saying. This is New York. So, but we won't. I don't think we'll see that this year. Maybe next year. But I'm really happy the way things are going, and I'm glad that camp is going so well. And you've been doing a tremendous job, and I want everybody to pick up a copy of the Giant Insider, which is in print. Go to Google and go Google the Giant Insider, and you will see where you can buy it. You can get it in digital form. You can get it in hard copy.
The Twitter account, and the profile links you right into the.
And the Twitter account at Giant Insider, which is great. And Chris, you do a tremendous job. Jerry Foley and the rest of the guys. I'm even in that group now. I put a couple of articles in.
Yeah, nice article there, pal. Nice article. Saw that.
Oh, thank you. I think that he put the Beckham one up, right?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one he wanted me to write. So I don't know which one. We have a couple doing this week, and I might be doing an offensive line one. I'm not sure. I might be doing a Will Hernandez one. But if somebody else wants to do it, that's fine. I could do just about anything. I've been writing for USA Today's Giants Wire, and we've been putting a lot of material up there.
Yeah,
and I put some of your material up there.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Trying to promote you. I think on the beat, there's a lot of good people. We all know who they are, but you're keeping pace with them, buddy. Let me tell you.
Oh, thank you very much, man. Thank you very much.
You really are, and keep up the good work. All right, next show we'll do the defense. Is that all right?
Oh,
and maybe special teams. Special teams is still all over the place.
Yeah.
They haven't made any real decisions, right?
A lot to talk about with the defense and special teams. Nah, not really. Yeah.
I'm going to preview the defense. I think people should be excited about it. What do you think?
Oh, there's a lot to be excited about. I just marvel at watching James Betcher every day, to be honest with you, John. So it's a lot to talk about.
All right, Chris. Thanks for calling in, and we'll
Okay.
talk in a couple of days. Whenever you got some time, we'll talk some defense. How's that?
Okay, thanks for having me on, John. We'll talk soon.
All right, bud. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.